All right, today is 18th December 2021 and 5 p.m. in Dubai, 5:10. And today's the topic of the discussion, the subject is destiny not by chance, it is by choice. So we will start discussing with that, and after that we'll have today is also full moon, so we'll have a full moon meditation after we do the kriya. So in this will not stretch too much of the discussion, and so we'll go more into the today's full moon meditation. So with this we'll start our session. So first let us understand that how the destiny is created. So destiny, to understand what we call as a destiny, means something that we need to face in our life. This is, of course, we face it based on many external parameters that I have written in the description. So those are all contributing for sure. But those are coming in front of us due to our own soul's plan. So how it works? So before we take birth, we decide to have certain experiences in life. In higher dimension, there is no good and bad, no duality. It's all experiences. So soul's plan is where to take birth, will be our parents, what will be our economic condition, what will be our social condition, what will be our educational level, what will be our intellect, what is the type of job we will do, what is the things we will face in life, what are the challenges we face in life to overcome, what are the relationships we have. All these are planned by our own soul, nobody else. So in that sense, those are not by accident. It just happened as per the plan. Some people appear in our life for any amount of duration and then disappear, maybe, all based on certain plan. At the soul level, we agreed that we'll take birth and play these roles. Again, this is not necessarily I'm talking about who are the favorable, unfavorable, pleasant, unpleasant people. We can even agree with our so-called enemy to be here in this life, become our enemy. Yeah? So this, now let us, based on that, these things are played out, and which one will come when, it also depends upon the planetary positions. So that's why, to some extent, it is possible to predict what will be your life things and what are the kind of things you will face as per the planetary position. Means, if you have, if in your plan you have that you will win a lottery, then it can be predicted approximately what time it can have. And there is also a law for implementation, like action is involved. Like if you don't buy the ticket, no lottery will come. So that part is also there. But most favorable time can be found out that this is the time it most likely happen. So this, as it is decided by the soul, accordingly, these things happens. So then when it happens, we don't know from where it is coming. So that is taken as our destiny. Now let us put one step back. Why soul plans certain things in our life? This soul, what it takes into account, whatever your pending karma, karmic account. Soul wants a particular life, whether you can complete or settle your karmic debt as quickly as possible. So they will make sure, they means the soul level, both the souls will make sure they come in contact together so that it can be settled. law of karma in the previous session, we have explained that it is just a disbalance of energy. It's all about the game of energy. If something has disbalanced and not been neutralized, it will be passed on to this life. So good, bad, both doesn't matter. Like it needs to be balanced. So our own soul plans such a way that we get out of that date as quickly as possible. That's why it puts all those things into our next incarnation's plan. So when that put into the plan, then it becomes our destiny. So we understood that whatever destiny we are facing here, this life, it is basically coming from our own soul, and our own soul decides based on our own karma, maybe in the previous life or lifetimes. So in that sense, the karma, who creates karma? We only created karma. How we created karma, that we explained in the last session. We created karma out of our free will. 3 things: thoughts, words, and actions. So in some life, it can also be in the present life. I'm not saying the present life, if you do some karma, it cannot be settled here. Of course, it can be settled. That is also taken into account. But at least whatever the pending one, it comes and that influences us. So we generated karma in the physical body, disbalance the energy in some lifetime that has been gone into our 5th body, causal body, which is the cause of everything, which is the 5th body in our 7-body system. Then we call it a sanchita karma. And in this life, it is designed that way. When it has been downloaded, that's called prarabdha karma, and then it is giving karma phal. When it is stored, it was stored as a karma vij, the seed form. So let us revise. So out of our free will, in some incarnation, we did something, say something, thought about something that imbalances the energy. So that's created some kind of karma, goes into karmic account in the causal body. If it's set, some of them are settled, it's fine. If not, it will be passed on. In the next life, soul reviews how many debt you have, how many loan you have taken from different banks, say. So it will give you the capacity to settle that accordingly. You have to meet with them and opportunity to get settled. But whether you settle or not, you have a free will again. If not, it will pass on to the next life. And that's how it goes on. But opportunity will come. So in that case, whatever we consider as a destiny in this life has been created by ourselves in our previous lifetimes, by our own karma, by our own free will. So that is the thing it is in saying that is the topic what it says, that destiny is not by chance, it is by choice. Choice what we made that time we become smart and made some smart choices, but that bound karma, okay, then you have to face the consequence of it, and that's it. It is our choice, free will, that created that choice. So, and why we need to face it? Because our soul wants it to settle it once for all. Shifting or dragging will not help us ultimately. It is like you are in the school and so too much of exam pressure, you say, okay, class 9 exam, you don't appear. Then you will remain in class 9. Will never be class 10. Taking out exam, taking out the facing that particular test will not make us elevate. It is not our best interest. We'll remain stuck there if we don't appear in that exam. So that's why we need to face it. And that becomes our destiny. So this is what we are facing in this. Of course, this is all situation what we are facing that is contributing to it. But fundamental reason, it becomes our destiny because of our own karma in the previous one. So this is the whole cycle. So what does that mean? That means that whatever we are doing right now, that will be our future destiny. So whatever happened, okay, there are methods to, just mitigating the karma, we already discussed in the previous last session. But at least the Kriyaman karma, what we are generating now, that we can stop creating karma. It is possible to lead a life with a zero karma. We'll do all these activities, but no karma. That can be learned. How to do that? And for that, the main key is awareness. We have to be aware what is going on in your mind. What is the emotions we are developing? We have to be in witness mode. Even the people who are enlightened, they are doing zero karma. They are not going into that karma because they were aware of the consequences. I personally visited 70 to 75 of my lifetimes out of 700 plus. If I wish, I can visit others also. But what I'm saying is message is very clear. We did something, some other life, you have to face consequences. Very clear. Now, why should we take chance to do something so that we bind karma? With the divine grace, they have ultimately lifted up. I explained last session that if you give enough effort, your 100% effort, divine grace happens. You take one step, 99 steps, they come down and help your hand and then burn your karma. But that one step you have to take. And it should be 100% commitment and devotion. And that through meditation will roast the karma bij and kriya to clean your Sushumna Nadi. Those things you need to do to make yourself to have the less effect. Even if it is the prarabdha karma, effect will be mild. And you will be always under the divine guidance and blessings. But if you are smart, you try to manage things. Yeah, manage result already you are facing, whatever you have done 700 plus lifetimes. Yeah. So anyway, how the awareness is the key. Even people who got enlightened, if they do some mistake, karma can still come back. There is no guarantee it will not come back. My Guru's Guru, Guruji, Prem Nirmalji's Guru, Dada Gavand, he says that eternal vigilance is the price of enlightenment. Means when you get enlightened, to maintain that, you have to be eternally vigilant. What is happening to you? What is going through your mind? It is not that once for all exercise. It can come back. If I steal something somewhere, it will all come back. I will go back to the karmic trap again. So this awareness is the key. That can be taught. How it is a skill, how to witness thought, how to witness emotion, what is going on in your mind. Something is, because thought is the first initiation of the words and then actions. So if you are vigilant about the thoughts and emotions, then you are getting angry. And also if you are realizing that you are getting angry, you can then mitigate it at that level without getting into implemented bind some karma. Then you have to settle the karma. So in that case, our future destiny is in our hand. Simply by awareness, being aware, at least we should be aware not to bind any new karma, not to imbalance anymore. Whatever in the stock in the Sanchita karma, we can deal with it. And divine guidance is available. As I said, that whichever knock the door, they are persistent and give their 100%, divine will come and help them all along. So this is the way the cycle of the karma and destiny works. Once you get enlightened, like to be high awareness, another thing also, let me mention it to you, raising your vibration, PEVF. Raising your vibration PEVF at least 500 plus. 500 is a unconditional love, heart chakra. 500 plus, we will allow you to live a life of compassion and just in aligned with the divine. It will not be, bogged down into the petty selfish motives and things like that, and that will govern that. That is up to Manipur chakra, it is ego driven. Like lower three chakras, those are ego driven. Ego drive that, and then that creates our thought and whatever we want, whatever we try to achieve and things like that. All are those selfish motives behind that. They cannot liberate you. Okay, they can give you temporary pleasure, yes, but they will, possibility is most of the time they will put you into high level of karma that you have to settle ultimately. You can only delay things. You cannot, completely withdraw things. This is not possible at the human level. Once you get enlightened, then what happens is all past karmic things have been burned into ashes by Guru Kripa. Then whatever is coming, it is just, you can start fresh with a full awareness. Awareness has a power to neutralize any type of the karmic action is happening because you are aligned with the consciousness. Attention is the instrument of consciousness. If you give attention, suppose I have given my example. I was having some alcoholism issues, so I left, like 11 years back. I didn't touch not a single drop. Suppose there is some desire coming that I like to have a drink, just you have to watch the drink. Then in the attention, consciousness takes over. The urge goes away. Same as the thoughts. We are witnessing thoughts. If you witness it with full alertness, awareness, through attention, your consciousness comes. In the power of consciousness, that goes away. It is like bringing a huge, big searchlight to dark things to go away. And consciousness is like a sunlight. Forget about searchlight. So all the darknesses, it goes away and it will be very clear, and that get dissolved. Whatever the shade of so-called dark patches here and there, that goes away. So that's how it works. So if we depend, we surrender ourselves to the divine, then the higher consciousness, soul consciousness first. Soul consciousness is connected to the universal consciousness, the one, the creator. So that takes over. And then with that power, whatever is the mind construct, our patterns, our habits, and these addictions, and all this, some kind of desires, all goes away. Goes away simply by witnessing, simply by giving attention and bringing the power of consciousness into that. It is not a logical. It is very difficult to understand logically how I can just watch something and it will dissolve. Okay. I have given you earlier some example that how that there is one, suppose some birthday party of some children and they're playing what is called the dark room. So room and throwing pillow and all these things, jumping on the bed and things like that. The moment in that room one adult enters, the adult is not scolding anyone or shouting or telling anything. Simply entering, the activity of the children will come down 80%, if not everything. So if somebody is witnessing, the activity comes down. It's a normal, it is a natural way. So all this kind of hanky-panky going on in the mind, having a thought of a drink, or I'm not saying the drink is too bad and it's a criminal. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving an example. I'm saying that any kind of thing, any desire or mind construct, in the attention, in the focus, where the consciousnesses get connected, and that has a power to dissolve it. Any kind of thing created by the human mind and body can be addressed, and it can be healed by the power of the consciousness. Our consciousness is running the whole life Forget about one item. It can dissolve many things. Okay, so key is the awareness. If you are aware, will not bind any new karma, and then at the post-enlightenment level, what happens is previous karma, their burden is not there, only the new one is coming. With the power of consciousness, you have your vibration. If you're vibrating 500 plus, so you have been also manifestation ability. You can manifest higher the vibration, faster the manifestation. You can manifest whatever you want, whatever your intention is. And of course, that should be unconditional. It is not cost of anyone harming anyone. It is not a selfish thing. Whatever you like, unconditionally, that can make happen. And your life experiences will be like that. And in this particular aspect, Guruji Prem Nirmalji calls this a designer destiny. A very fascinating word. You can design your destiny. But for that, you have to get rid of the previous ones, write a new one. That time, you have a power to change your plan, what you are going to experience. Because we are operating at the soul level. So where the source code is written, we were talking about the soul's plan, where the source code, you have a capacity to change the source code. And that's how it will face that. In the process of enlightenment, your DNA get activated. There are a lot of dominant DNAs get activated. Normally in the human being, standard, like high intellectual, highly educated intellectual after a lot of brain work and activity. So end of their life, normally it is there only 3% of DNA get activated. That means when they die, 97% of DNA become dormant. If you can activate those, all of us, we have it. If you activate that DNA, that activation is not possible at the intellectual level. Intellectual level, the vibration can go maximum up to 499. 500 and above has to be spiritual. Your heart chakra need to open. From there, the higher level of manifestation comes, and all these kind of things, the special DNA activations, special abilities, your healing abilities, thought reading abilities, or your intuitive faculty, communication with the higher dimensional masters, self-healing, all this kind of stuff will come from there. Many other higher dimensional aspects are possible when our own DNA get activated. If you activate 20%, it will be like a Superman. Okay, you will have that kind of abilities. Forget about 100. So in this, the spiritual master, that the different levels of DNA activation, and that, and because of that, they have this kind of things. Is a part of the gift of the enlightenment. Visit your past lives and this, implementing something, manifesting something, and these kinds of abilities and power that comes. They can cleaning the negativity remotely, even sitting here, some negativity somewhere in Russia, that can be cleaned. No need to visit there. It can be done. All these kind of abilities that come. So that way you become your lead a life which is called some designed your destiny, your own. So then in this case, that you can even alter that based on whatever your will, but to have to that level, to design your own destiny, your deserving capacity must be increased. And that is deserving capacity is increased by PVF. When I'm not talking any new thing or new theory, it is everything is known. I'm just repeating it. Now, where is the key? Whatever you taught in the fast day, the 108 stomach breathing, that's the one. You do that practice, keep on increasing your vibration. like it is a, suppose it is like a open container, water. So more you practice, it will fill up, the level will go up. Also, it is open, something will evaporate. That's fine. But if you practice daily, then the rate of filling will be more than your rate of evaporation. So in that case, slowly, slowly to keep increasing, and certain point, say cross 500, then 700, like that, it will keep on increasing. So when you cross 500, you will get all the abilities. If your vibration is negative, negative means 250 below 250, where guilt, shame, anger, and all this kind of stuff are there, you cannot manifest anything. Negative territory has no capacity to manifest. 250 plus, yes, it starts there. Like whatever you do, your vibration accordingly you do, it will take years to get manifest. It is possible, it will happen, but it will take that kind of effort. So, and higher you go, faster is the manifestation. What I'm talking is, during meditation, everybody goes high, 700. When you see the expanded awareness, it is 700 plus what you experience during 6-step meditation. I'm not talking about the temporary. Your base, the permanently, when you stay there, that time it will happen. Otherwise, we face that, but slowly what happens is slowly it comes down. If after that, say meditation, if you do too much of mental activity, it comes down. After some time, if you take any non-veg food, low energy food, it comes down. Okay. High pranic food, we can maintain. If you observe silence, you can maintain for a longer time. Evaporation is less. Okay, I'm not criticizing anything. I'm saying the facts. To be there, to feel lighter, you cannot have a heavy weight under your wings. And that will ultimately, slowly, when you practice, you keep feeling lighter, your vibration goes up, you will stay there permanently. Even if there is a fluctuation, it will never come back below 500. All the time it will be that and above, and then you operate from that. So whatever your intentions are, get manifested fast. And that is you can drive your own destiny. In fact, at certain level, you are beyond destiny. So it is all. It's not anything else outside will not control you anymore. So that is got beyond that. So that is a state of pure bliss. I was talking about your karmic body, the fifth body, causal body, cause of everything, Karan Deha. Okay, below that is the knowledge body, Vijnanamaya Kosha. But I'm talking the above one, the causal body. This, when you get enlightened, all karmic accounts are closed. So this karmic thing comes as a black patches into that body. Those patches are cleared, that become golden, that body. And same body, which is causal body, is called bliss body. Clean. So that has got a power to manifest it from the higher, higher than 5 to much, much faster. Okay, now let me come to the last point. Last point is, what is our ultimate destiny? Okay. Normal destiny, life, I have already explained how it works, how it starts, and how to, in future, how to deal with it. And it is basically continuation of the last session, law of karma. Okay. What is our ultimate destiny? We have been created. I'm just repeating the same truth, because truth cannot be given in the different, mode. So I have to repeat that. You already heard many times, I'm repeating it again. Human beings are created out of pure love. That's why human being is called Prema Sarupa, manifestation of love, pure love. This love is none of the love we normally use in our lives, none of them. When all these emotions, all these human, man-made things have been removed, all emotions are gone, what is remain in the background is a pure love. That's what we are made of. It is like a plain canvas or a blackboard without written anything, where you can write something, or a plain piece of paper where nothing has written. All our story, life story, can be written on top of it, but the background is a plain paper. So nowadays it is a digital. Okay, it's a digital, blank Word file or Excel sheet, blank. You can write, you can do all these calculations there. So that is pure love, the background of everything in our life and how the life is created. So our physical body is a gift actually to experience something. It came from the consciousness, from the universal consciousness, the one, the creator. From that, the individual consciousness, soul consciousness. Soul consciousness has an identity. Like my soul, your soul, these having identity. It came from the same source. We are all one, came from the one. Then it has its own part created, given an identity, and also a journey. Mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, so many, thousands of lifetime. And then it comes finally the human, but fast few hundreds of human lives are unaware life. Means there is no spiritual thing. Human beings have a capacity to get enlightened. Yeah. Animals cannot get enlightened. And enlightenment is your exit route from light and death, life and death cycle. The first few hundreds of years you do unconscious living. It's like the kachi ghani, that oil, the cow goes round and round like that. Nothing you can see goes round and round. Or it shows that particular cow feels I'm just walking a long distance. Actually not. It is going there and there. So same way we live our life. As I was mentioning, I see our past life, same mistake, same pattern, repeating so many lifetimes. Okay. When you see that, it's how stupid it can be. We didn't learn a lesson quickly. How could I say that? Yeah. We do same mistake again and again. बहुत भी अगर डंडा पड़ते हैं तब जाके थोड़ा सा I see, okay, then we take some little bit, consciousness comes. So that way we lead our life. But anyway, after a certain few hundred lifetimes, the soul's age become, we call old age souls, older souls, or wiser souls. They start searching the meaning of life. Earlier not. Earlier few hundreds are eat, drink, be merry, means be happy. That is the motto of life. Huh? How can I eat, drink, enjoy life? Huh? So that already we spend. No? I've seen what happens in my soul's journey. Few hundred, we spend that kind of life. Okay. Come, let us party. This type of life, we have spent hundreds. The achievement, so-called, in the life. When soul matures, it asks question the meaning of life. What is the meaning? We take birth somewhere, okay, whatever it is. We've gone to school and study, then college, and then got some job, or they get married, then have children and the family. Then after that, so they have to growing up, there's some issues, and finally, they got settled, and so our time for our retirement come. So then we take rest, and some disease comes, then we go into the clinic. If I have bigger money, over a 5-star clinic. You have not that much money, I'll go to the government clinic, and so on and so forth. But end of the day, so we cannot eat, we cannot walk, we cannot do anything at the one point of time. So thank you very much and leave it. So what does that mean? What is the meaning of all this? After we go, who cares? So when they search meaning, then they realize that there is something bigger than that. This is not all we came for. This, it is called sense of inquiry, which comes from within. The sense of inquiry, they start searching meaning of life. Simple question: who am I? What am I doing here? What is the purpose of all this? It is not eating, drinking, and paying bills is not everything. Yeah? So there must be something, beyond that. There must be purpose. 50 lifetime goes in searching for this answer. They don't get it. That's why they call seeker. Spiritual seekers. So asking that question, to whom they can satisfactorily answer. After when they try enough, then the divine send one guide or guru to them who can talk their language, who can prepare the food as per their taste. Like if you go and visit something and you have been offered a what is called cockroach fry, you may not like to take it, right? So it should be your taste, if you like. Cockroach fry or, frog vindaloo or snake something, you will not take it. So, no matter how delicious it is, yeah. So they need to cook that as per your liking and choice. They send somebody who has that, who can serve the message as per your understanding and what we can accept, what we can digest. Again, you have a free will to choice, and no, I'm too smart. It goes on. Maybe 2-3 times somebody comes, goes, next lifetime. This kind of thing goes on. Finally, something inside that rings, and then you decide to, yes, I will follow this. Then rest of the things can be guided. This particular aspect, it will not happen unless until you have done enough searching and some karma, settling certain amount of karma in the previous lifetimes. It is not possible to meet any living enlightened master unless until you have done enough of good karma in the past lives. It's simply not possible. Okay. And again, I was saying, you still have a choice. You still, your mind trick you. Why should I spend time in this? Better I should sit in a bar and have a glass of beer than sitting for a meditation half an hour, wastage of time. This mind will tell you, okay, you will have that kind of life, few lifetimes of that. And then finally you realize that the importance of that, it is nothing to do with who is coming. It is about me to have that, to find out the exit route, the key, to unlock that door where I can go out. How many times we come and do this, all this grinding of this life? Yeah. So when they are serious, they start walking the path, and then lifetime it happens. The enlightenment happens. After that, no need to come back. You can come back. You have a choice to come back. That's called dharmic birth, not because of the karma. You can normally those elevated souls, they come back to help others. They don't have anything balanced karma to settle, nothing. They just come to help, compassionate, come here to do that. That can be done any number of times. So then what happens is, when you get liberated into that, then you go into the further journey of your soul's journey. So your soul's journey become important, not the lifetime journey. That's why at the time of enlightenment, all the soul's journey is revealed to you. That's why you'll be able to see all your past lives. What is the purpose? The meaning of the life is open to you. This is the purpose. This is the original plan, soul's plan. And this is the route, your soul's route you have covered. So you have now ready to go back. All your classes are over. Now you have to do whatever you call professional life in truest sense, the higher bodies. Learning is over. Learning means experiential learning, not theory. Theory, all the soul knows. So then what happens is work on that, and there are different steps. So, okay, no need to come back to physical body and energy body, no need. So third, slowly, more you evolve as a soul, it get dissolved. So third body get dissolved and into fourth and above, then fourth get dissolved, fifth, I told you, we become a bliss body, nothing left. That merges into the sixth, the spiritual body. And then it merges into the nirvanic body, the seventh body, that it merges into the ocean. That nirvanic, when all the lower bodies finally merges into the seventh, that nirvana, that is to supervise that, we need a moksha guru. We have lot of our gurus in the different lifetime they comes, but moksha guru is one. In the end of our soul's journey, who give the final destination, merger with the consciousness. Only the individuality, soul consciousness dissolves. The identity is lost. Like we give an example, the river Ganges merges into the Bay of Bengal in Ganga Sagar. The identity of Ganga is lost. Ganga, Hooghly, whatever name you call it, that is lost. Not the water. Your all experiences are there, but it merges into the one. That process, supervising that process is done by Moksha Guru. The whole humanity, there is only one Moksha Guru, and that is Mahavatar Babaji. We are so lucky to get his blessings in these lifetimes. Not only that, get guidance and protection from this one. So this particular thing, ultimately, when that merges, that is our final destiny. This destiny is already fixed, and there is only one. There cannot be anything else. There is nothing called heaven and hell. Finally, we have to go through that. But in higher dimension, they are not in a hurry. Okay. If we don't learn lessons, whatever experiences, it will wait. You take 5 more lifetimes, 50, 100, you spend 1 million years more, how does it matter? Already you spent few millions already. I can see as a rock, I was 15 million years in a rock. How does it matter? 1 more million years. The creation is not in a hurry. We are. We need to complete our journey and evolve. And that is our final destiny. We only chosen. The Creator has chosen that. So starting point, end point is fixed. End point that I said merger with that. This process, final merger, you said that there are different stages. Then finally the Moksha Guru you have to pass through and go that merger. Somebody was asking how I can pay, Guru Dakshina there. I cannot carry money. No, money is in the physical body. How can I pay something in that? Just for your information, in that dimension, there is no money. Only you have to pay by love and gratitude. That's it. All you have to pay is love and gratitude, and that is good enough to go into the final destination. So that's why we come here to learn pure love. Everything is created to come to that level where that we can express ourselves with a pure love and light of awareness. We operate as with the pure love, and then we get with the awareness, we reach there. Light of awareness. It is like a full beam light so that you can see the path forward. Light of awareness. Love and light. In higher dimension, there's only these two. So we merge into that, and then we final destination we reach. That is our ultimate destiny. So with this, I will conclude this learning session. So if there is any question, I'll take that now.
Question, Rajdeep.
Yes.
So, as you mentioned about your experiences with alcoholism, right? How to get away from that, to just be in the witness mode, to experience it whenever you feel like there is a desire for it. I similarly have an acute, I should say, affinity towards sweets, anything sweet or anything. So if I pretend to be that I'm having, say, a very delicious food or sweets, I pretend that I'm eating that, and my desire, like you said, comes in to experience that without even touching the food itself, right? So, but if I be in that mode, what is the fine line to draw that I like to be in that experiencing directly versus remembering the experience I had before just to get away from it?
Yeah. See, remembering that also is a trap. Huh?
Yes.
But what you need to do is assuming that somebody else is eating. Huh? It's very difficult to understand what I'm coming from. Even you can give your name. Huh? So say I can say Rajdeep wants to have a sweet and Rajdeep has a craving for sweet. All are true. Huh? Let Rajdeep have this sweet. Okay. The moment you do that, all the process is under observation of the consciousness. That can kill that desire. Nothing wrong in having a sweet. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but it is under awareness. What Rajdeep is doing, Rajdeep is thinking, Rajdeep's desire, all are being watched. It loses its power to control you. You can still have it. I'm not saying you throw it and do sacrifice. Oh my goodness. Those kind of things has the more power. They can grab in the backside and be more craving. Yeah? But if you do that, just watch it and then you have it, be fully aware, you have it, you slowly it will go away. So this is the way to deal with that. It
So
is
I
all
can practice even when eating, say.
Yeah. See, what we'll do is we have to be in the lower level. We are getting controlled by the pancha indriya, 5 senses. Taste is one of them. Okay. What we need to go beyond that. Like beyond that does not mean you will not eat. It means that they should not control anymore. We come to a state called equanimity. Means whether we get it or don't get it, our mental state will not change. We don't lose our peace of mind. I don't get angry if I don't get my preferred food. That state. If we find, we enjoy. If we don't get it, that is also fine. Okay. Suppose I'm just expecting that, what is called. Suppose I try to order some particular food. I went to the restaurant and they said today that is off. It is out of menu. Okay. Rather than shouting at that guy, then why you then change the menu and thing like that? So better I say, how does it matter if Rajdeep doesn't take that today? Doesn't matter. Okay. Why it is so important to have that particular one? The insistence of that comes from our ego. Because ego wants the superiority. It wants to satisfy itself. And it is also called the power, spiritual power also give you the delay in gratification. Ego doesn't want delay in gratification. I need that, I need it now kind of stuff is ego. Okay. And I like to have something, nothing wrong in it. Have it, enjoy it. Thank you very much. Today, we cannot have it. Also, that is fine. We'll take it some other day. It's okay. That is not getting carried away with means this tongue is that cannot govern the way I behave. I become a slave of the tongue otherwise. Okay, so that I remain into that choice that if I get it, fine, I will enjoy. No discredit or no sacrifice or no intentionally punish myself. All nonsense. Okay, and you just when you get it, you enjoy it, and if you don't get it, you have to be in the awareness. It doesn't matter. Still, I'm in the same state in equanimity. Neither good nor bad. That's the way to lead a conscious life.
Mm-hmm. But the sensory organs can be stimulated by the ego, right?
No, so by your memory, what you were earlier mentioning.
Oh, okay.
What you are saying that if I don't get it physically, I bring the memory and satisfy my tongue. Don't do that. You are still under the slave of the tongue. Yeah?
I see. Okay.
Okay, you are giving alternate options, but it is still you are getting controlled by it. Isn't it? That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong in having food. Huh? Absolutely nothing wrong. But only thing, if you don't get it, if the gratification is delayed, then you don't lose your peace of mind. That's it. That is spiritual.
I see. Okay.
Having or not having is not spiritual. Nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Have it. Fine. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Mm-hmm. Yes, Vani.
I have a question, Guruji. I mean, if I want something, I have to put efforts to get that, or I have to increase my desire versus what is the other word? I'm not getting. So I should be more deserving to get something. So for that, we need to actually work hard, and if we don't have that work hard capacity, then we would end up saying, okay, whatever comes, I'll just take it. I don't want to work. That is also wrong, right? I mean, I don't know where to draw a line. So,
Yeah. No, I got your point. Yeah. See, your whatever, anyway, you have to put effort no matter whatever you wanted to have it. Even to run a normal life also you have to put effort. Chanakya Slok, he says that Uddamena hi siddhanti karyani na manorathai nahi suptasya singhasya pravishvanti mukhyamriga. Means Uddamena, by effort, is siddhanti karyani, whatever the works have been done by your effort. Yeah. Uddamena hi siddhanti karyani no manorathai. But just by wishing it will not happen. Then second line it clarifies, nahi suptasya singhasya. If some lion is sleeping with keeping a mouth open, nahi suptasya singhasya pravishyanti mukhyamriga. If his lion is lying down open mouth, the deer will not come and enter into his mouth. No? For eating, he need to put effort. That's what it means. It is called law of implementation. Okay. If you don't do work for it, it will not happen. Why? Because this is typically it will follow the rule of the physical dimension. It will not simply just happen like that. But now let me come to your question. You intended to do something, you are putting an effort and getting it, nothing wrong in that, as long as it is not harming anything else or at the cost of something or somebody. There's nothing wrong. You put an effort, you get it. But when you don't get it, even after putting, then you need a maturity to accept that situation as well. Okay, that is called spiritual maturity. When you get it, don't get it, doesn't matter. But to get it, as you are saying, of course you have to put effort. Whatever effort is necessary, you have to put effort. Like if you want to, some like to eat an ice cream, you have to go to ice cream parlor and order it and pay for it and then get it and then eat it. Okay, you have to put that effort. And there is nothing wrong in that. But suppose you went to the ice cream parlor, you find that the ice cream parlor is closed. then you should be able to delay your gratification. That is the spiritual quality. Okay, so fine, I'll take some other day, it's okay. Okay, that makes the difference, not actually eating or not eating. Okay. All right. Any other question? All right. So we'll go into now.
It's Guruji.
Yes, Priti ji.
Hello. I don't know how to express this. My doubt, it's not a big issue. This I was to meditate. Is it necessary to be a vegetarian? Actually, I was non-vegetarian, not much. Then from past 3 years, I've started meditating and all. According to Patriji's, you should be strictly, So if you have that lingering taste or once in a way you feel like, so am I committing a sin in that? Or am I, how should I take that? I have stopped totally now.
Yeah.
What should I do now?
Okay. Let me answer in two different ways. So one is that become vegetarian does not make automatically a spiritual person. So basically, in that sense, that a non-vegetarian also can be spiritual. Okay. Just that is a fact. Now let me tell you from where this vegetarianism is coming in the spiritual path. I'm not talking somebody's family is vegetarian. I'm not talking about that. What happens is when you are in a sadhana, you do the meditation, your vibration increases. At a certain level of vibration, you cannot take non-veg food, the dead animals, anymore. Your system will not accept it. It is no longer a choice that whether you like to have it, don't like to have it, you have a crave or don't have a crave. Your craving goes. Okay. And that is the time it is opt for vegetarianism and move forward. Because your vibration will not, because these non-veg foods are heavy, it will not allow you to go further, feel more lighter. So that is why whoever on that spiritual path, they drop it at that time. It happens. It is not imposed. You don't feel like having non-vegetarian. It is not absenteeism. Oh, somehow I should not, I'm spiritual, I should not take no. It is useless. That is again a mind game. Okay, your willpower and all. Willpower is your mind game. I mean, mind construct. It will not help. But at a certain level, when you have achieved certain level of vibration through your sadhana, you don't feel like having it. And that is the permanent state. Okay, that is the state because your vibration, compassion, all this will not allow you to have that kind of food. Of course, if you don't have any choice, you can have it still.
That's what.
Okay, somewhere there is nothing else. You have to have it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody will punish you for that. But internally, you will not accept it. Okay. So that is the state to drop. I call it my non-veg. This thing has been dropped from my system. And that is the right word. Like a fruit, when it's ripe enough, it drops from the tree. It never goes back like that. So non-vegetarian eating will be, when you ripe enough with the vibration, it will drop off from your system. And that is permanent. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so don't
after
go into the rules and regulations.
So after a gap of few years, in case I'm forced to take a little bit or something somewhere where there's no other choice, will it break my continuity or it will have some effect on my sadhana or something if I have once also?
See, there is no such rule. Okay. There is no rule. If you can internally accept it, nothing wrong there. Okay. And but the thing is, you should not come down into the vibration. If you come down in the vibration, that means that should not be, it should be no. But if you can maintain your vibration, even eating anything, that's fine for you. It's okay, no problem. But this answer you have to internally ask. There is no such thing called right and wrong answer in this. If you have to take it, just you offer, okay, I have to do it, just offer to the divine and just take it. We don't have any other choice. Okay.
Good. Yes. Thank you. I've clear. Yes.
All right. Okay.
It's cleared out. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. God bless you. Fine. So let us sit straight. So just breathe in and breathe out.